So what is the near-death experience? It's an experience people have who have come close to death or who have actually died and been resuscitated back into life. They have a story to tell. And this story, it varies with a lot of people, but there are similarities in these stories that really make you think, is this what's going to happen when we die? Now, there's been a lot of studies how many people have a near-death experience. There's studies out there that say anywhere from 4% to 20-something%. That's pretty broad. I think pretty much you could say 15%, somewhere in there, around 15% of everyone has had a near-death experience. And we wonder, how many are those people who just aren't telling us about it because they're embarrassed? It might sound like they're weird or whatever, something like that. The other thing about the near-death experience is it happens with people from all ages, from children to old folks. It happens in different cultures and different countries. And it also happens with people from different religious backgrounds, including those who have no religion. So it's universal in the way that all people experience this NDE. And what I'd like to do is go back to the original source. Again, that is Raymond Moody's book, Life After Life. If you haven't figured it out already, it's a great book, and if you haven't read it, you might want to pick it up and give it a read. The reason I like this book especially, and I do use this in my course, is this is the first book to come out talking about all these phenomena that happen in the near-death experience. So there aren't any copycats. This isn't someone reading about someone else's experience and trying to make money and fame off of it. Or on the other hand, someone who dies and come back, and they've already heard so much about the near-death experience that they are inclined to interpret their experience in terms of what has already been said. But that doesn't happen here. That doesn't happen here because people didn't know about each other until Moody wrote this book. So I do want to read, he puts it all together in about a couple of paragraphs, and I'm actually just going to read it to you, okay, as I would in my class, or have someone else read it there. A man is dying, and as he reaches the point of greatest physical distress, he hears himself pronounced dead by his doctor. He begins to hear an uncomfortable noise, a loud ringing or buzzing, and at that same time feels himself moving very rapidly through a long, dark tunnel. After this, he suddenly finds himself outside of his physical body, but still in the immediate physical environment. And he sees his own body from a distance, as though he is a spectator. He watches the resuscitation attempt from this unusual vantage point and is in a state of an emotional upheaval at this point. After a while, he collects himself and becomes more accustomed to this odd condition. He notices that he still has a body, but one of a very different nature and with different powers from the physical body he has left behind. Soon, other things begin to happen. Others come to meet and to help him. He glimpses the spirits of relatives and friends who have already died, and a loving, warm spirit of a kind he has never encountered before. A being of light appears before him. This being asks him a question, non-verbally, to make him evaluate his life, and helps him along by showing him a panoramic, instantaneous playback of the major events of his life. It's called a life review. At some point, he finds himself approaching some sort of barrier or border, apparently representing the limit of earthly life to the next life, maybe a point of no return, you would say. At this point, he resists, for by now he has taken up with his experiences in the afterlife and does not want to return. He is overwhelmed by intense feelings of joy, love, and peace. Despite his attitude, though, he somehow reunites with his physical body and lives. And it goes on to say he tries to describe it to other people, and people don't want to listen back then, and he wonders what to do with this state. But that's as much as Moody says about this. I know he uses the pronoun he, but he and she, it works for, like I said, all people. And just to show that, I would love to have you look at an actual video online. There are many videos online where people actually tell of their experience. that they had, and it really brings it alive. It just totally brings it alive to hear somebody's personal experience, personal near-death experience. And so this one is a video called "The Near-Death Experiences May Reveal a Glimpse of the Afterlife," and it's from the Today Show on YouTube. You'll see a link here. Now, I just want to point out, someday if one of these links disappears in my program, just go watch another one, because there are many out there, and there's just amazing videos out there. So let's watch this one.